Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn and Abby. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my quarterly series that I put out on my channel. It is broken down in 4 parts. My plant tour for fall 2019, and I'm really excited to break down the collection. I have over 500 plants in my collection, which is so crazy, but crazy in a good way, and I hope this inspires you to style more plants in your home. In today's video, I am going to break down the plants living in front of my home, but not the greenhouse. I'll save that for a separate video. And if you guys enjoy plant tours and seeing how I style plants and you're new, welcome to the channel and subscribe for daily uploads. And stay tuned for part 2, which is going to be in my bathroom, part 3 my studio, and part 4 my patio, which holds my beautiful relaxing water fountain. It is officially the first day of fall weather because it's been hot in the 80s and it is Halloween week and we finally have a chilly day, so I decided to throw on my short onesie and my favorite buffalo plaid in the spirit of fall. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll go in and out of the frame depending on the point of view so you can see the plant babies up close and personal. And if you have any of the plants, sound off in the comments down below, and even if you can help ID any of the plants that I'm not able to, that'll be very helpful in the comments. So let's go ahead and get started. And Abby is going to be hanging out, right? Because you love everybody so much, and she does need a haircut, but we're not going to be in Vegas for another month, and that's when she's getting her grooming done, so you might look like a mop by the time Thanksgiving week comes. All right, let's get started with part 1 of my fall 2019 plant tour. So I think I'm going to work from right to left. And if you are familiar with my channel, you know that I love doing inexpensive DIYs or thrifted things to style plants in and around my home. And plants and just plant things in general are very expensive, so if I can keep the cost down, I like to do DIY and thrifted things to style my plants. So in this particular section, I have my DIY wood and brick method to style plants, and the cool thing about this is that you can have it to any dimension and size you want, so I love that a lot. And of course it is very inexpensive, and that's like, this probably cost me maybe $20 to make, which is really inexpensive. My Eve's needle, and as you can see, it has grown so much since I bought it in Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market. I'll try to remember where I got it and anything I can remember about the planter. And this was a really cool find when I did a come with me with Catherine and her husband. I want to say sometime last year. It has very large pricklies on it, so carrying it from the flea market to the car was a pain because all of the pricks stuck out from the plastic bag. This thing will grow big if you plant it in ground, and I actually gave one of the babies that I had in the greenhouse, not from this mother plant, to Tanya today for her birthday. I'm kind of interested to see how well it does. It's interesting because my plant friends, and I'll maybe mention some of the plants that are doing better at my plant friend's house versus mine's living in a pot. And this one would probably shoot off really quickly and big and spread out if it was living in ground. I think any other cacti would. This thing is contained in this Walmart planter. It is not going to move anywhere else. It'll live here permanently. So I just have him here. He was living here from the last plant tour. This is a really fun unidentified epiphyllum. I don't know what this is. Of course it wasn't ID'd, but I collect epiphyllums and you'll see a lot in my collection, especially living in the front of my home. And this particular baby was found at another come with me from Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market, and I think that might have been the last time I actually went to the Rose Bowl. So out of all the mammillarias in my collection, this might be one of the original OGs that I got. This one came from Las Vegas, and you'll see the ice cream planters that I got from the 99-cent store. There was more. I actually bought it out. I have so much. You'll see it. The tree above my house creates trash every day, so you'll probably see me clean the plants as I go through the collection. So this is my Grandicornis, and this one actually came from the plant show that I went to in the summer. So this is my second Grandicornis. My original one that I got from the plant show last year in Encino, I actually gifted to Tanya today as part of one of her plant babies, which I had for over a year. This is my second purchased one, and this is from the Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market. So that's pretty interesting that the first 3 here are Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market babies. I need to go back because apparently I got some really cool finds there. So it's living in a terracotta planter, which I got from the 99-cent store. So you might see a trend here on where I get my planters. The planter that this epiphyllum is living in is one of the planters that I got from Chinatown here in Los Angeles. I love white cylindrical planters. So here's another interesting baby that I got from the plant show this past summer, and as you can see, there's little blooms about to unfurl, and it's ID'd as Monadenium redshift. Oh my goodness, I think I am probably pronouncing that wrong, but when I got it, there was little blooms on it, and I love cool, interesting plants, especially when I go to the plant shows. Because I have so many plants, it's nice to get some cool babies that I don't see when I do my regular come with me. So when I went to the plant show last year, Catherine and I, we tend to get matching babies. This is one of them. It looks like it's getting damaged from the sun. Didn't notice that until now. But this thing is one of those interesting babies. I can't remember the ID of it. Anything cool and interesting when I go to these plant shows really gravitates towards me, because these are things I don't find unless I go to like a specialty plant shop that has weird babies. But as you can see, just the few that I mentioned so far from the flea markets and plant shows, they all have really cool, interesting characteristics about them. So that is living in a planter that Catherine gifted me, and I try to be very careful when I go through the collection and style them without getting so this is a thrifted teacup that I got from Arizona. I have holes drilled in them on the bottom, and then I do have random aeonium cuttings from friends. I think this one came from Tanya. This is my newest Euphorbia Amac variegata, and this thing is super cool. Catherine got her first one when I purchased this. This is my second one. You'll see my larger one at the end of the tour. It's in front of my wooden door. And again, another cylindrical planter. I swear, if I could have my cool cacti pieces in this same planter in different sizes, that would be so aesthetic, and I love that a lot. It's my go-to look. So variegated Amac euphorbias are, anything variegated is very expensive. So of course, you know, I will repurchase plant babies I love so much. You'll see a theme in my collection that I'll get multiple babies of the same plant if I gravitate towards them, and this is one of them. So this is my newest cacti in my collection, pretty sure. I think that was the last baby I bought. I got some plant show babies in here. I have some flea market finds. This came from Fillmore, California, very far away with traffic, over an hour to get to this nursery. We did a come with me, Catherine and I, recently. In fact, I'm gonna see her in a couple days. I'm excited to see her. So this is a pin cushion that I got from Las Vegas maybe 3 years ago or so. Careful with these guys because they have hooked ends and they'll just dig right deep in your skin. And I have it in a unicorn planter. This has been its forever home since I planted it up, and so far so good. I may take maybe 2 or 3 babies to Las Vegas Thanksgiving week to live there full time. We'll see which one. There's another unidentified baby, and I don't know what the name of this guy is. It was a cutting that one of my old friends, Evelyn, gave me from her mom's Long Beach succulent cacti garden. You'll see a handful of babies that I got from her. And there is no ID on this because it was given to me, and Evelyn is not a plant person, so I don't know. If anybody can ID this guy for me, let me know. But I think I'm gonna have to cut the end here because it's browning. Not too sure how to help him out, but that's the first time I see something weird going on with him. But I've had this cutting now for, I want to say, over a year. So this is a cute milk and sugar bowl. You'll see the other set somewhere around here. Cobalt blue and white's my favorite, and for the most part all these aeoniums you'll see in my collection, except my crested ones, are gifted to me as cuttings, so that's pretty cool. I love that a lot. So you'll see aeoniums throughout the front of my home and a little bit in my patio. This is a Crested Eve's needle, finally growing back its little hairs here. At one point you'll see some pinks throughout. I'm gonna have to go in like with a toothbrush and clean him because he has a lot of fallouts, but actually this is making a comeback. I'm really happy about that. It's living in a cobalt blue planter that I got from the 99-cent store a while back. I had this guy now for over 3 years, and it's gonna live in here for its entire life. This is my pseudo zigzag euphorbia. Super cool, super rad looking plant. If you are looking for cacti and you don't want a big collection, want only a few babies, this is gonna be your go-to baby. I just think it's such an interesting conversational piece. The pattern on it is so special. I sold 3 babies, and you'll probably see where I took from. Here's 1 and 2 and a little baby on the bottom, 3, so that my subscribers could also have cuttings of this guy. Again, any other plants in my collection, if I don't ruin the mother plant, I'm willing to give cuttings to any of my subscribers who are looking for special babies to add to their collection. So reach out to me on a direct message, Planting with Jewelyn on Instagram. So this came from a really cool plant nursery where a bunch of my babies came from in San Gabriel, which is very far from me with traffic, over an hour to get to, so I rarely go out there. I think the last time I went out there was with Carrie, and I haven't seen Carrie for a while either. She's in the process of buying her own home with her husband, and I can't wait to go over to that new house when that happens and give an updated new plant tour. That'll be really fun, coming from an apartment to a house for her. This is really interesting. Do you see the variegation in it? I just think this is such a fun and special plant. This is considered rare for me. Sound off in the comments down below if you have the pseudo zigzag euphorbia, and is it rare for you, and have you seen anything like this in your area? I think it's really cool and special, and I'm glad I picked it up. I haven't seen it anywhere else besides this guy here, so I'm glad I have it in my collection. So this is my first flea market baby, and this is the crown of thorns, another fun euphorbia. Euphorbias come in all shapes and sizes, and that's another cool thing I love about euphorbias. There is pricklies on here, and it's been living in this thrifted planter, probably maybe from the Bay Area maybe, and there's different kinds of blooms, sometimes pink and peachy. The cool thing about euphorbias and crown of thorns and even adeniums is like it's kind of like a treat where they look weird and funky, and it doesn't even look like it's gonna give off blooms, and then there's the cutest blooms. The cool thing about euphorbias, this crown of thorns in particular, is that the blooms last longer than an epiphyllum, which maybe lasts for a day and a half, if that. This will last for over a week with me, so that's really fun. And this cost me a few dollars, and I've had this now for over a year, and I got this as my first Los Angeles flea market baby. I was so happy to find that. I filmed it for a come with me. This is another interesting guy. I don't know the ID on this, but I've had this now for 3 years or so. This, to me, he looks dead, but I could be wrong. He could be one of those alive but looking dead babies. And I got this from Las Vegas well over 3 years ago, so if any of you cacti junkies can ID this one, let me know. Fairy Castle cactus. The original one that my mom got me is in the Las Vegas collection in the kitchen. This is a very fun butterfly, dragonfly planter that I got from Eagle Rock. Actually, Catherine and I just did our second come with me there, and I bought the 2 that they had. I love it a lot. I think this is such a perfect pairing. You'll see terracotta in my succulent cacti collection, but for the most part with my houseplants, I try to stick to white if I can. So this is another planter that Catherine gifted me with another baby Catherine gifted me. And every time I see this type of cacti, and I don't know the ID on this, I probably have it somewhere in my phone, it reminds me of plant shows. It's one of those weird, interesting babies. Again, one of those looking dead but alive babies. So this has been living in my collection now from Catherine, I want to say over a year, and it's doing really good. I want to say it's doing good. For my collection in the front of my home, I water them 3 to 4 times a month. Just depends the time of the year and the weather. One of the newest babies in my collection, another fun Haworthia. If you watch my Las Vegas collection, lifting in a thrifted teacup that I got from Arizona. I just think they're adorable in these little teacups, and it gives a pop of color in the collection up front. You'll see a lot of the newer babies in this tour in the front of my home. So here's another baby that's been living in my collection for 3 years now. Wasn't living in this planter originally, but this was from Las Vegas 3 years ago, and then this is the Eagle Rock planter that I got. Again, if I could get more of these, I think it looks super cute throughout the Sun Loving Baby collection out here. Interesting guy. Has he ever bloomed on me? No, not yet. I hope also one day, and their blooms are stinky and smells like a dead corpse is what I heard, but never happened to me yet. So we'll see. It is turning a little bit dark, I think maybe from the sun, but other than that, it's just kind of been chilling here. Where did I get this? I want to say maybe from Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market. Another variegated euphorbia, the Indian corn cob. Look at the pink tips on it. How adorable is that? Now this came from Las Vegas. I want to say maybe 3 years it's been in my collection. 50% of my come with me's, you'll see the variegated Indian corn cob. Especially when I go to those big mom and pop nurseries in the middle of nowhere. This is kind of a common plant. I could get it bigger if I wanted to, but I like my small guy, and I think this actually came with me to van life. It's just really cute and adorable. Again, anything variegated I love. Another aeonium. That's probably from Tanya. I like having them spread out to the collection. Now this came from a come with me that I did past Santa Barbara. I can't remember the name of the city. That is so bad. I want to say this epiphyllum is doing good. As you can see, it is stressed out red from the sun being out here in front of my home. It's been living out here since I brought it home. I can't tell if it's doing good or not. I want to say it's okay, but I have not seen any growth since I brought this home. The only thing I've seen since I've had it in my collection is it turning red from being out here in the sun. If it does give me anything new, I will share it in Pot of Fame, but I love epiphyllums. I don't know what the ID on that one is. So here's another fun Haworthia recently added to the collection. This came from Las Vegas. So many babies. Don't know the ID on this one. None of my Haworthias were labeled. This planter is from the 99-cent store, and this baby was gifted to me from Tanya, and it's doing good. I mean, the babies got bigger since it got introduced to the collection, and it's been living out here full time, and I want to say it's happy. So thank you to my plant friend Tanya for that. Another fun Haworthia, and this guy actually has been in my collection since last year, I want to say, and so far so good. I have something similar to this at the end of the shelf, you'll see in a second. But I love collecting Haworthias. I don't think my collection is as extravagant and big as Carrie's, but I still have a fair amount to have a collection, or at least say I have a collection. Fun little aeoniums. I want to say this might have been gifted to me from Tanya as well. And you'll see aeoniums of all different shapes and sizes in the collection. But again, aeoniums are an interesting plant family species to collect. There's so many, but I just have a handful. I'm not gonna bring these babies up. You'll see it at the end of the montage because they're big and prickly. This back here, this Opuntia, came from Tanya, one of my original ones. It's kind of interesting because I gave the baby to Kira as her plant baby from last year, and she just sent me a picture yesterday that I gave her 3 babies, and I was like, that's so crazy because mines have not even given me new growth or anything. But apparently it's doing better in Las Vegas weather with Kira. These 2 came from Tanya's mother plant as well, and this prickly pear Opuntia here came from the Arizona house. So this Opuntia back here came from 2 places, Long Beach and Las Vegas, and I have a mixture in here. I gave one, I believe, to Catherine. So I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 in this section here. And then in front here, I have this really interesting, I want to say monstrose. I could be wrong. I probably have the ID in my phone. This particular baby's been with me for over 3 years. I don't know. He's leaning to the side. I might actually take him out and put him into a different situation and use this planter for a house plant. So stay tuned for that change to happen. 2 agaves I have in my collection. I gave the other 2 that I had to Tanya when she came over as a trade because she came over with a plant baby, and I ended up keeping these 2. So these are the 2 I kept, and the other 2 I gave to her. Hopefully it'll do better. And as you can see, there's always some kind of trash happening on the plant because of the tree. I can literally spend a whole day cleaning the plant, and then I'll come home an hour later and it'll be back to having all these little leaves on it from the fallouts of the tree above the house. This is probably the best agave in my collection. I have two, and as you can see, this guy has babies. Of course, agaves do better in ground with cacti, but nothing is in ground in my collection. So for living in a pot, I think it's doing pretty swell. So this is my Cereus Monstros that I've had in my collection for over 3 years, originally from Las Vegas. And I think I probably got these two the same time in Las Vegas, and they're just really easy, low maintenance plant babies. And this is what's left of my devil's backbone. The other half of the plant died, and this was part of my birthday plant haul that I got as a gift from Catherine last year's birthday. And it's doing good. It's living in a TJ Maxx planter. And one thing about this guy is you do not want to get the white sap from it on your skin or in your eyes, so be careful if you have this plant. My aeoniums, and this is living in a chicken planter, and I've had this now in my collection for a year, and this was also gifted to me, and it's doing really good, and I'm not gonna touch it. So I think this is a very fun corner. So that is the whole right corner of my collection. This is right next to the greenhouse. I swear every part of my collection, I can literally just sit and just look at them and clean them up and give them some plant love. That was a very fun corner to talk about. I literally could just sit here all day and talk about my plants because I have so much. So I'm trying to keep it quick and short, but still give plant love to all of the babies because they're all special to me. I love just sitting down here and looking at them. I've worked so hard on the collection, and all of these babies came from far and near. This big guy here, this really fun rabbit ear opuntia, came from Tanya's mother plant in her yard, and I just think it's so cool. And I think a bunch of my subscribers and plant friends have ears from it. And let me know in the comments down below if any of the babies that you got from me in my cacti collection is doing good in yours, for the people who purchase babies off of me. Another crested eaves needle, kind of similar vibes. You know, this guy is crested, my crested eaves needle, and I think they might be the same plant, just in different forms. Let me know what do you guys think. I just didn't realize that until now. But this has been in my collection for, again, 3 years. Living in a white elephant planter. I love animal planters, especially owls. I love owls. My variegated Joseph's coats. I got this guy from the Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market. Any fallout babies, I just throw them in the planter because they just propagate very easily, and I can even give them as little gifts. So this thing has been living in my collection, I want to say, for a few months, but I mean, anything as far as for updates since I got it, the variegation. As you can see, this side has been facing the front and been getting attacked by the sun, which brings this cool pink stressed out look. But then Jewelyn needs to turn it, because look, this side is not that variegated, and if I can get like a stick or something to have it not lean so much, but I bought him like that, then maybe I can help him out with his growth spurt and change the direction of how he's growing. So for the rest of this video, maybe you should turn this way. And I mean, that's a really cool vibe too. He's interesting. I don't have the green Joseph's coat, but the variegated is very interesting and fun to look at. This is another plant baby from Tanya's mother plant. Very small. I think Anya also has a baby from Tanya's mother plant. In fact, when Tanya came over the other day, I was like, there's nothing happening except this small little baby. I don't know what to do, and I don't want to mess with the root system, so it's still living in a terracotta, and I wish it luck. Fun mammillaria, one of the original OGs from Las Vegas. Got it over 3 years ago, and I really love these small little guys throughout the collection. Another interesting Gasteria, and I think I got this as part of my $25 challenge for Plant Adventures for the Las Vegas edition. I need to do another one of those. Again, I haven't done it in a while. And there's some babies here. I don't have much Gasterias, but for the few that I have, I love them a lot. They're doing really good. Another fairy castle cactus that I might have got from maybe Pasadena Roseville Flea Market. At this point, I don't remember. I have two. But I think the other one, the larger one on the right side, I got from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market. This one, I'm not too sure where I got. But it's doing really good. And I feel bad if I can't remember where I got them from. But I try my best with all of the plants I have. So here is another interesting Haworthia that I recently got in the collection. If there's any weird yellowing leaves, I try to take care of it right away. So it looks like there's a few babies here, maybe 1, 2, 3. They kind of all cluster and looks like one big plant. These things you gotta be very careful. They're on the juicy, chubby side with lots of windows, so I try to not overwater them. And I think that's why I decided to bring them in the cacti garden, because I don't want to accidentally kill them. I had a bunch in like my earlier years of collecting, and they all died from the rain while I was in Egypt, so I'm trying to rebuild it. That's why I got that big haul from Las Vegas. So wish me luck in the upcoming year that they'll survive the rainy days. Another euphorbia, I think this is the African milk, and well, there was little hairs on here, but not today. It's okay. But again, variegated, and I think I got this maybe from Las Vegas. Don't quote me on that. Thrifted planter that I drilled a hole in. Probably as far as for characteristics in a Ripsalis, pretty cool. I mean, I collect Ripsalises, so I love them all, but this guy, when it stresses out in the sun, like, take a look at it. I'm gonna give it a spin so you can see. Also, if you look up close and personal, there's a lot of fine hairs on it, and then if you look really good, you'll see little blooms. They're just like the cutest things. I remember I took a picture of it and I sent it to Catherine. When I first seen a bloom on it, I was like, no way, like, this is the cutest blooms. It's not in full bloom and looks like a bunch died off, but if I do catch more blooms on it, I'll share it in a pot of fame. I think some of this was gifted to me from Catherine, or maybe all of it, I can't remember, but I want to say it's doing good. And when I do these plant tours, it's like the perfect time for me to really look at them to see if they're doing good. This is my pink ice, and this is living in a bowl that I got for free in one of my hauls. I'm gonna have to clean up this plant after the tour. This pink ice came from Fallbrook. I've seen this in Fallbrook at the mom and pop nursery. I was like, this is such a cool succulent, because this thing was stressed out like crazy pink and pastel purple, and I was like, what is this? This is so cool. But when I brought mine home, well, it's green and it was probably living in the patio, and I was like, Jewelyn, you have to put it out with the cacti babies. So wish me luck that eventually this will stress out into beautiful pastel pinks and purple. But for now, it's living on a low dish here in front of the plant stand, and I just like how it just fills up space down there. Another interesting baby that I got from, I want to say, Bellflower. This is the only plant baby living in a nursery planter out here, and it was living in a nursery planter from the summer tour, because it's like not doing good but randomly doing good. I don't know how to explain that. Like, the leaves look kind of sad, but yet it's putting off a lot of new growth. So if you look in the planter, here's a new baby, new baby, new baby, new baby, and new baby. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new growth spurts coming from this collection of epiphyllums. I don't know the ID on this one. 6 actually. I see some new growth here. And there was also a beautiful bloom that I caught, but I didn't get to share it on the channel because the next day when I went to film it, it was dead. The blooms only last for a day, but apparently it's doing good because there's new growth on this thing. So maybe it'll go back into a terracotta planter. But I just love collecting epiphyllums, and I've had this one in my collection, I want to say, for a couple months. So you'll see in my plant tours that I flip over pots I'm not using or that got damaged and my grandma glued back together as plant stands to just give different levels to the collection. Cressula Galoom, wow, you're doing so good. I try to not knock you over. And this Cressula Galoom is a baby that I got from Las Vegas, and the other half of it I gifted to Kira for her plant baby last year, and it's doing really good in her collection. I have 2 more smaller ones from different purchases before this one on my succulent shelf in my patio. You'll see that in part 4 plant tour. But this recently just came out in front of my home. This guy was living in the front of my succulent shelfie until maybe like 2 days ago, and I brought it out because he kept getting in the way every time I went to go and water the collection with the hose. Any succulents you see hanging out here are new to styling out here. Here's a random sedum that I tried to save as a rescue from Reseda when Catherine and I went to that big nursery. It was out in the field of plant babies, and I just thought this thing needed rescuing, and it's living in a terracotta, and I just let it be wild and crazy, and it is what it is. Little owl decor every now and then in the collection you'll see pop up. This is another aeonium cutting that I got probably from Tanya, living in an ice cream planter. This is my totem poles. I have 3 more in the greenhouse. These are the 2 larger ones, so I grouped them together. Totem poles take very long to root up. You have to leave them in there for months to get roots. So I'm not even gonna try to see if there's any roots in here. I'm just letting it be. But I do have 3 more smaller ones if any of you guys are interested. These are from Arizona. A bunch of my plant friends actually got gifted totem poles from me when I came back from Arizona. King cushion baby. So this is another fun one that I got from Las Vegas, and I try to not touch them. So here's another fun baby. This is another interesting Sarcostema stolonifia. I hope I'm saying that correct. This is another plant show baby that I got in the summer in Encino, and I got it because it kind of reminded me of a Ripsalis, but it's not. I'm gonna bring you up close here as it is very full for me to be in the frame. So back here is a Long Beach baby that I got from a really fun nursery. If you guys remember that Come With Me, I got a bunch of Tradescantias from that nursery, and so far so good. There's a lot of new growth here. Like, look at the little leaves. How cute is that? So it's doing good in front of my home, and I don't know the name of that euphorbia. I probably have it in my phone saved somewhere. My beautiful Moroccan mound euphorbia, Catherine and I think maybe Tanya and Carrie has plant babies from this. I've never taken from it before until now. So 3 of my plant friends have it. And then down here you'll see an aloe that Carrie gave me. Here's another interesting guy. Got this one from Las Vegas. It's very interesting, so I wanted to bring him up. One came from Catherine as a plant gift. These aeoniums maybe came from Long Beach, from Evelyn's mom's house, I'm thinking. And then this is one of my newest Haworthias that I got from Las Vegas, and there was some white stuff growing on it. Looks like maybe some mold. I'm gonna have to clean it, and I think it was like that when it arrived in my collection from Las Vegas. And this is my San Pedro cactus with a baby. Kira and I did this as a split in Las Vegas a while back, living in a planter that my bestie Diana gave me. She's not into plants, and I just recently found out she's having a baby. So I love what's going on in this corner. So much cool things happening. So wrapping up the group of plant babies here, which is a really cool section. You can see a lot of dimension and levels happening here on the top here. And you'll see my grandma, I guess, was spraying some DIY stuff, and she sprayed the Tiffany blue plant stand white on accident. It's all good. This is my combine silver dollar vine, which is very near and dear to my heart. The original one, I want to say, came from, I can't remember. That's really sad, but if you watch my recent Come With Me, I got this larger section here from the Los Angeles flea market. I can't believe I found it there, and I combined it with my original one, and it lives in a bigger terracotta. So this is probably one of the coolest finds for repurchasing babies in my collection. I will do that, and I love the plant so much, so hopefully it does well in my collection. And I just love having it as like a focal piece from all of the other babies. And I mean, the way how it's cascading, it's just nice on a plant stand. So down here in this section, you will see a bunch of night blooming cacti babies from Tanya, and I just have them ganged up here living in a planter. And it's kind of strange how Kira's one is doing better than mine. It's growing crazy, and mine has not really given me any growth. So it does better in Las Vegas. But thank you, Tanya, for the babies. And then here you will see my beautiful I want to say Amazonica, and this is a really fun epiphyllum. I actually thought it was a Ripsalis when I bought it. Got this in West Hollywood, and I just love like the fishtail vibe it brings. And once this thing ever gives me blooms, I hope it does one day, it's like pink and purple and super cool. So I've yet to see that. My Ripsalises and my epiphyllums are very fun and interesting plants to collect. They're very weird looking plants, but they give up the most super coolest blooms. So I hope this will bloom for me one day. But this one is very near and dear to my heart. And when I first seen it, I was like, is this some kind of Ripsalis? You'll see in my studio plant tour part 3, I have a bunch of Ripsalises in the collection in my home, and it kind of gives me the similar vibe. Out of all of the epiphyllums that I do collect, this one is probably the one that makes my plant heart ache the most. I want to consider this a rescue. I got it from San Gabriel, and I should have said something to the nursery about getting some kind of discount, because as you can see, this whole plant got butchered. And I mean, when I propagate from my babies, I try to not take it where it's obvious or going to hurt or ruin the look of the plant. And when I seen this, I mean, come on, this is like a bad, this is not a good way to take from this plant. If I would ever take from this plant, which I haven't and I won't because this is a rare plant for me, I would take it from the bottom and I would cut as close as I can to the root system or the main stem of the plant. But like literally, this is all gone, and you'll see throughout the whole plant that a bunch got chopped off, even in the back. So half of the plant is gone, and I paid full price, which is very sad. But this thing gave me beautiful pink blooms that it only lasts for a day, and I should have, and you know, I love DIYs and I love crafts. I love scrapbooking and all of that, but when you do craft things and DIY things and sewing and all of that, you tend to collect things because in that type of hobby you need a bunch of things to create things, and I'm trying to not do that with more hobbies. But if and when this thing gives me blooms, I wanna do resin art with it to preserve the bloom, because it only lasts for a day. I think I'll do like a quick video, snap some photos, and then pull the bloom off and then resin it so that I can keep it forever. And I really wish I was thinking about that when the blooms happen. But next time I want to try resin. I'm gonna have to practice doing resin art before I ruin the blooms. Back here you're gonna see one of my original jades. I want to say this one down here came from the mother plant here at my Santa Monica studio. This is my beautiful Kalanchoe, my Kalanchoe, and I got this from my $15 rescue basket with Catherine, and it's doing really good. So it's still living here. A really fun, interesting piece I recently got, and the baby actually died. It was variegated mostly with yellow, and it didn't do good. This is a really cool baby that I got from Ventura, and I've been looking for this variegated crocodile aloe for a very long time. When I seen it in Arizona in the fall, I was like, I don't even want to know how much this thing costs, because that nursery was so expensive. It was a big cacti nursery and everything there was expensive. I didn't buy anything, but that was the first time I've ever seen a variegated aloe. And when I seen it in Ventura for the first time after my original sighting, I was like, I have to get this. But even if the baby died off, there is a new baby down here, which looks like it could just be all yellow. I'm not too sure, but I really hope I don't kill this plant, because this thing is so special to me, and it kind of reminds me of the very special Senseverias that are variegated that I don't have in my collection. It kind of gives me that vibe. But take a look at it, it's so pretty. I could literally stare at this thing all day. So I don't have a lot of aloes. My original aloe is living in the side of my home. You'll see it in the greenhouse tour. And this is my 4th Ripsalis, and it's doing good. This is the propagated baby that I have to put back into soil. because it fell off. It was actually here, and then one day it decided to break off, but it's okay. It'll grow into a whole new plant, so I don't want to disturb it because it is not root bound yet in there. So let's give it a little love here. I have this one in Coco Coir. So this is going to be the newest addition to the plant family out front, and this is a euphorbia cutting that my subscriber gave me, and that is pretty cool. I had actually planted this up yesterday, but I didn't film it because my neighbors had rebuilt the fence on the side of my property, so it just was not ideal to film with all the background noise. So I have it in a really cool terracotta, like almost like aqua planter. I love it a lot, and it's living here in this planter by itself. It is 3:30 p.m. and my patio's already dark, especially since it's fall. It's even darker now this time of day. I can't even, like, Bob Marley, that's the plant name that I gave him. His name is Bob Marley, and I love this guy so much. This is an Epiphyllum hybrid. I don't know the exact ID offhand. It's very long. You see it in certain videos. I probably had given the name on screen. I don't know the name offhead though, because it's super long and complicated. So his name is Bob Marley, and a bunch of my subscribers had purchased cuttings from him, and I also gave it as part of my trade, my second trade with my subscriber in Santa Clarita. And I just love him a lot. I have a mini Bob Marley you'll see living in the nursery planter that I propagated his fallouts on accident in my patio, and I would like to eventually stick it back in this planter. But if you ever seen the roots on this thing, there's no like big root ball, and because it's top heavy and it trails over, it's so hard to keep it anchored in the planter without letting it fall and topple out of the planter. So maybe I might not even mess with this, and I'll just create a whole new Bob Marley Jr. Down here I have my original Cressula ovata. This jade came from Las Vegas. I'm probably gonna have to turn it or put it somewhere else because I see some sunburn. Down here in a white planter, an owl white planter, I have these Cressula cuttings that I got from the Bay Area last summer when I was staying at my hostess home for dance school. This is a bunch of my rooted elephant's bush that I got from Arizona from the mother plant, and a bunch is still propagating in water, and the planter actually came as a thrift too from Arizona. So let's talk about what's going on right in front of the wooden patio gate. I have my second mother plant, my Hoya obovata, doing really good, and it's crazy. It's growing a long tendril here, and I love having him here kind of filling up the space. And here is my original variegated AMAC euphorbia. I love this thing so much. 2 of my subscribers has babies from it. This is one of the fire sticks I have. I'm actually trying to think where I got this. This might be actually from Catherine. I can't remember. But I have it here in my collection, and it is in a really cool blue and white planter that I got from TJ Maxx Las Vegas. So here is the jade that my grandma planted. Do you guys remember when my grandma did the greenhouse clean out? And she decided to stick all of the jades that was growing from my mother plant here in the yard into this white planter. Well, it's doing good. It is so full and lush. I have a planter at our restaurant in Las Vegas that was filled with jade, and it died. So I'm gonna bring all of these and every jade cutting that I have in my collection from my tree that's rooted, and I'm gonna take it back to the restaurant in a month as Abby passes by. And I am going to take all of the jade, including this. This is gonna fill up the planter by the register. So this won't be living here in the next month. And hopefully it does well. And all of the babies I have propagating in my greenhouse that are jades are gonna go and fill up the dining area. And if you watch my channel, you probably see me do that before. So stay tuned. But for now, for the next month, it'll live here. Evie, are you trying to go? Give mom a kiss one more time. Love you. Okay. And then here you will see my beautiful whale-fin mother plant. I've sold 4 tails to subscribers, and this thing actually has a little baby. I'll share it in the montage at the end. Alright, so now in this point of view, you can see the top part of my AMAC. Up here in the basket, and I like to clean out his leaves every time I pass by. from the pine tree. This is my staghorn fern, and looking at him now, he's doing really good. Actually, Anya has sent me a picture a couple of days later after I did the tour of her staghorn fern. She actually had put it up on a board, and maybe I should have her do that for this one. But you know what? This staghorn fern is doing good. I actually see a little bit of new growth down here. It's living in coco coir in a coco liner basket, but I think it's doing really good in here. So maybe when it gets bigger, I'll have Anya do it for me. And then this is, I don't know, a problem child all of a sudden. This was like the easiest weed. This is asparagus fern. I call this a weed because it grows wild in the front of the house here. And I don't know, half of the plant is yellowing from maybe too much sun. It's been hot, but I do see a lot of new growth up here. You don't want to touch these things because there's a lot of pricklies on here. But I'm gonna have to see what's going on with the plant. I do water this thing every week because it is a fern. It does need extra love. Philodendron Brazil. Wow, this is a huge leaf here. And this thing was trailing so long, and then if you look here, it like probably bent from just maybe the weight of the trail, and I had to just take it off, and it's propagating on my white plant stand with the green lights. So I would just go ahead and probably pop it right in here to fill up the space when it's rooted. But like a lot of new growth. And remember when I did that unboxing, there was a Philodendron Brazil as a free cutting. It's still living in my home if you watched my DIY. I was gonna bring it in my home, but there's like no room for this trailing plant unless I put another hook in my ceiling. But so far, I like how it just kind of fills up the space here and gives it jungle vibes as I walk into my home. So I was actually going to keep this for the patio plant tour, but technically it is in the front of my home. This garden sign came as a birthday gift from Catherine, so you might see it in the background of my video. This is the same setup that you've seen in the summer tour, and I love having the double hanger here. It kind of fills up this empty gap because I like filling all corners if I can with plants. And this is the pink silver that I want to say came from, if not here in Los Angeles, maybe from Arizona as part of my $25 challenge plant haul. And they labeled it as a pink silver, and it's interesting how it's like climbing, and it's like I like how it's like latching on to the hanger. I think that's so cute. So it's loving life here. Like, I'm not gonna change it. It's doing good. And then my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. This is my original one. My second one is from Las Vegas, living in my patio. Alright, you guys, that is gonna wrap up today's video, part 1 of 4, not including the bonus what's in my greenhouse video that I'll film and share after the 4-part series of my very fun quarterly series on the channel, my plant tour, having over 500 plants and doing daily uploads. I like giving you guys updates on the collection, and also I think this is a fun way to see how I style the plants and how they look like ganged up. I love being able to share and inspire with you guys each and every day because there is always room for plant life. If you guys are interested in any of the macrame hangers that you see on the right and left of me, and any of the products I use on the channel, my affiliated link to my Amazon store is in my description box. Go ahead and check it out. And if you enjoyed watching the plant tours, and if you have any of the babies, know any of the IDs, sound off in the comments down below. Stay tuned for part 2, 3, and 4 that I'll be sharing on the channel in the upcoming days. I would like to try to film my bathroom plant tour tomorrow, followed by the studio and the patio. But getting this patio ready to be film ready is, well, it's a production because of this big tree. I really gotta go through and blow through this space constantly, like 4 times a day I'm blowing through this place. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and seeing me in my fall Southern California attire because today is the first official fall weather day, finally at the end of October, Halloween week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. I can't wait to show you what's going on in the spaces I have here. My bathroom, there's some new things happening. The studio got some new things happening, and there's a bunch of new babies in the patio. I hope you guys enjoyed the plant tour. Stay tuned for the end of the year plant tour. and I will be doing giveaways from now until then here and there, so stay tuned for that. If you guys are new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads at 5 a.m. and I might change my daily uploads. I don't know, maybe the beginning of the year, where I do 5 videos on the main channel and 2 videos on the vlog channel, so you still can get daily uploads, but I can give more love to the vlog channel because I like vlogging and I do a lot of traveling and eating on that channel. So stay tuned because I'm heading back to the Middle East in 3 months. I can't wait. Lebanon, Jordan, and back to Egypt. So stay tuned for more. Come with me and travel with Jewelyn. Take Evie to the beach because she's been waiting patiently for me. I taught 4 hours this morning and then I came home and geared up for the plant tour, so she's been waiting patiently. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye.